The James Rose Center sponsored its first annual design competition, Suburbia Transformed, One Garden at a Time, exploring the aesthetics of landscape experience in the age of sustainability. Billy Cohen, whose entry title By the Latitude and Longitude, described the difficulty she had in entering her project.
We couldn't FedEx the package because it was due the same day, and they don't have a telephone here, and you can't send FedEx without a telephone. So I said, okay, I just have to drive it here and then get to my other project, like up in Westchester somewhere, so I'm Googling everything, and I can't find the place. And I went past it because, and then I said, oh, this has to be it, but nobody was here. So I'm like, is this it? This is a totally abandoned place, but clearly it's, the alternative to the suburbs, but then anyway, this one gentleman came out and I said, are you accepting? Is this, it's like a big mystery. And then I was really impressed of having this project, like I said, in context. When you see this place in context, it's phenomenal.
Dean Cardas, the director of the James Rose Center for Landscape Architectural Research and Design and organizer of this event, explained the significance of the center.
One of the reasons this place is significant is because it was designed to change. When Rose first built this place, he said, I decided to go at it as you might a painting or a piece of sculpture, to set up a basic armature of walls and roofs and open spaces, but leave it free for improvisation. In that way, it would never be finished, a metamorphosis such as you find commonly in nature. And the place has changed dramatically as a result over the 40 years that Rose lived here.
Matt Bergermaster, professor of architecture at NJIT, shared some of his thoughts about sustainability.
I think what's really great about the house and the way it was described by Dean here, I don't think he actually used the word sustainable. And I think it actually speaks to the importance of not sort of forcing a label onto things. Because often what sustainability translates into is putting solar cells on top of roofs instead of thinking more holistically.
Joseph Volpe, professor of landscape architecture at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, whose entry titled The Carriage House Garden, commented on his students' sense of anxiety about today's world.
There's a fear that the young people are desperate, or if not desperate, fearful that there's not a solution. And I think this exhibition and my teaching approach is to say that despite the worst problems in the world, you can only solve them if you're really hopeful.
Matthew Urbanski, whose entry was titled Water Treatment Facility as Neighborhood Asset, explained how James Rose transformed a marginal lot into one of Ridgewood's most famous houses.
Making the most out of what you have, the circumstances that are there, is the essence of sustainability, and that's really what James Rose did here. He had a kind of a marginal lot next to a power line easement, probably not that desirable to people, and he's turned it into possibly the most famous house in Ridgewood.
Todd Haman's design for a residential garden was selected for the exhibit, and many of Rose's writings influenced his work.
I read a bunch of his books. I actually was able to get a hold of a collectible book of his called Gardens Make Me Laugh. I also know he wrote another book under a pseudonym. He must have been quite a character, obviously, to say, see you to Harvard.
Matthew Cunningham, an award-winning landscape designer and former student of Dean Cardas, shared some thoughts about the concept of sustainability and architecture.
I think it's really about being smart with the resources that you have to work with and working within a specific context rather than importing a variety of materials that don't necessarily belong into a space. I think that's really important, and that's what I'm trying to do with my work.
He once said, people are always asking me how I make a garden, as if I had some kind of formula, and I don't. It's not so much what I do as what I don't do, and what I prevent them from doing. And then what's there is beautiful.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this is really a gem of a place. It's a fantastic garden.
For Ridgewood Patch, this has been Marshall's Minute.